Kitchener-Waterloo's real estate market just got more interesting. Supply is up, but demand, not so much. Find out what this means for prices in our full April market report.
As everyone is bracing for the Bank of Canada's next move, our April market trends are revealing some crucial insights. Now, if you've been closely following interest rates, you might be feeling kind of stuck with your real estate decisions, so stick around for our interest rate breakdown as well.
In this video, we will be covering the month of April's real estate stats for Kitchener-Waterloo, including prices, number of sales, days on market, and new listings. We'll be comparing April 2024 to March 2024, as well as April 2023. And at the end, we'll also be touching on interest rates and what you can expect from the market. So if you're thinking about buying or selling, stick around to the end where we're gonna have some great advice for buyers and sellers.
So let's dive into those April stats, starting with sales prices.
The median price for detached homes in Kitchener-Waterloo in the month of April was $866,000, down 1.59% from the $880,000 we saw in March, and down 1.15% from the $876,000 we saw in April of last year.
Next up, semi-detached homes came in at $656,000, which is down 0.98% from the $662,500 that we saw in March, and also down 2.09% from the $670,000 from last April.
Freehold townhouses came in at a median price of $742,500, up 0.47% from the $739,000 we saw in March, and down 1.66% from the $755,000 we saw last April.
Condo townhomes came in at $559,000, which is down 3.62% from last month of $580,000, and also down 6.44% from $597,500 last April.
Condo apartments came in at a median price of $427,000, down 0.7% from the $430,000 in March, and down 6.15% from the $455,000 April last year. So overall, the real estate market in April took a slight dip compared to March, with condos taking the biggest hit. And the driving factor behind that is the fact that condo fees have been increasing across the board, which has made condos a little bit less desirable. Now, let's dive into some of the other stats to see if we can understand why this has been happening in our market.
For this next section, we're going to take a look and compare freehold properties versus condo.
The total number of sales in April of 2024 was 433, which is an 18% decrease from the 10-year average of 527.
Of those 433 sales, freehold properties accounted for 305 sales, which is up 16% from the month of March and up 4.8% from last April. Condo properties accounted for 128 sales, which is up 3.2% from last month of March and down 0.8% from last April.
We saw 614 new freehold properties get listed, which resulted in 485 active freehold properties at the end of April. This is an increase of 45% compared to March. Condos saw 337 new listings hit the market, with an active count of 473 at the end of April, an increase of 31% compared to the end of March.
Freehold properties moved quicker than condos in the month of April, with a median 8 days on market and a sale price of 106% of the asking price. Condo properties had a median of 15 days on market, with a sold price averaging 100% of the asking price. So George, what do all of these numbers mean?
Well, the good news is that even though the number of sales is down compared to historical averages, we did see an increase in sales compared to March of this year. However, supply happened to outpace the demand quite heavily. We saw an increase of about 40% in supply, whereas demand only increased by about 15%. So typically when you see supply increase more than demand, you expect prices to come down. And that's exactly what we saw in April. The prices came down a little bit. Now, this doesn't mean that there's not enough demand in the market, because we are still seeing freehold properties selling for 106% of the asking price. In other words, demand is still a bit higher than supply. The condo market, on the other hand, is looking at about 100% of the asking price, indicating to us that there's a bit more of a balance in that condo market.
So the good news for buyers out there is that number at the end of April of active listings is up 45% for freeholds and 31% for condos. That means there's more inventory, more options out there for the buyers that are seeking a property. Now, one of the biggest reasons that demand hasn't been able to increase as much as supply is because there's a lot of buyers on the sidelines waiting to find out what's going to happen with interest rates. So let's talk about that. What is happening with interest rates today?
Well, of course, as we know, on April 10th, the Bank of Canada decided to hold its overnight lending rate at 6.3% is what you can get a variable mortgage now, and you could get the same earlier in the year. So a lot of buyers are still waiting and anticipating for when that drop is going to happen, and the next announcement for that is going to be June 5th. In response to this, the fixed rate market actually increased a little bit in the month of April. On average, fixed rates went up by about 0.1%. Now, it's important to note that fixed rates operate independently from variable rates, and they can change at any point in time. And they were a main driving factor in the real estate market so far this year, because in the month of January, we saw a sharp decline in fixed interest rates. So the reason that the fixed rates had dipped at the beginning of the year is because the economy was looking a lot better. Well, it was looking worse, which is better for interest rates. But now some of those indicators are showing signs of more resilience from inflation and other economic factors, which might push back the drop of interest rates. And therefore, the fixed rate market has reacted to that with that slight increase.
Now, it's important to note that nobody really knows what's going to happen for sure in the future regarding interest rates. All we can do right now is speculate and look at the data of present day. When you see news headlines and articles talking about this will happen or that will happen, it's important to take it with a grain of salt. The real best strategy is to take a look at what your needs are and what your timing preferences are. Based on that, you can make a proper game plan. Now stick around to the end to hear our tips for taking advantage of the current interest rates. As a friendly reminder, we do love making these videos, sharing our tips and insights and market stats with you, but we are real estate agents at the end of the day, and our job is to help people find homes and sell homes or find places to rent. So if you or somebody you know is looking for that, please feel free to reach out. You can leave a comment below or give us a call, and we'd be happy to help.
Now, with the majority of the real estate transactions set to happen over the next few months, you might be looking at buying, you might be looking at selling, or you might be looking at doing both. So we've got some great tips coming up no matter what your situation.
So a few tips for buyers. Number one, you want to get pre-approved today if you're even thinking about possibly buying something. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, it'll help you determine what your budget is. You can do all the calculations you want yourself, but getting that firm, concrete number can help you determine if it's even something that's possible for you right now. And secondly, possibly more important, you'll be able to lock in your rate today for up to 120 days. That means that even if the interest rates go up in the next couple of months, you'll be able to keep the rate that was promised to you today. If the rates go down in the future, that's no problem. You can get that new rate as well. It's basically like an insurance policy for your mortgage pre-approval. My second tip for you is, as we've learned, there's more supply now. So that means there's more options for you to choose from. And not only that, but more properties are sitting on the market for a longer period of time. If we look for these type of properties, sometimes we can negotiate the price down and have an easier time of obtaining these properties. As realtors, we can actually filter a search and look for properties that have been on the market for a longer period of time. So that makes your life a lot easier. And last but not least, you'll want to reach out to a realtor, hopefully me, to set up a complimentary buyer consultation. What we do on this call is we go over the real estate process. We go through the market in a little bit more depth, and we also make a unique game plan for your unique situation.
Now, for those of you thinking about selling, here are a few tips to help you out. Number one on my list, if you're waiting to see what happens with the interest rates on June 5th, you might end up being too late for the spring market. As we all know, by the time July and August roll around, things tend to slow down a little bit. So right now is the prime time to take advantage of the fact that your lawn looks amazing, there's more buyers out there in the market, and just waiting around for June 5th to see what the government does might not make the most sense. Tip number 2 is to make sure that your curb appeal is on point. With it being spring and all the flowers blooming, invest a little bit of time in your front lawn to take advantage of those precious first impressions from home buyers. And number 3 is to focus on what you can control. We can't control what the buyers are going to do. We can't control what the market is going to do with the interest rates. But as a seller, there are things you can control. You can control, how prepared your property is for the market, whether it's staged, whether the painting has been updated, what the curb appeal is like. You can control who you work with, the real estate agent that you choose, and the strategy that they employ. Where is your home being advertised? Are they targeting buyers coming in from out of town? Then of course you can control the timing. You don't want to hit the market too late. You don't want to hit the market too early, but it is within your control when you do hit the market. And then of course you can control the pricing. Price it too high and buyers aren't going to come out and see your property. But if you price it right, it can sell quickly, especially in today's market. And then of course, with pricing comes the pricing strategy, sitting down with your real estate agent and understanding, do we want to price at market value or do we want to price lower to generate multiple offers, get a bidding war, and then maximize that price? So, as we mentioned earlier, homes are selling above asking price right now. They do tend to show better in the springtime, so it might be the right time to sit down and develop a game plan. If you've been tossing around the idea of selling your home this year, reach out to a real estate agent and start working on that game plan and seeing what's available for you. If you don't have a real estate agent, I'd be happy to sit down with you and offer a complimentary consultation.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like our video and hit that subscribe button so you can catch our upcoming video next week.